Welcome to MMAPlay365. I'm Newsome and I'm here to give you the Base AI UFC prediction software recap from UFC Vegas 53 last weekend. And since we tweaked the algorithm slightly the weekend before that at UFC Vegas 52, which I spoke about on that recap video, the predictions are looking absolutely solid. They're improving, and it's surprising me of how good this AI can actually be. And like I said, the AI will only grow over time as more and more data is inputted into the algorithms. And for this event, it should have had an overall just straight prediction percentage of the mid to high 70s. So mid to high 70%, if it wasn't for the disgusting Jake Collier versus Andrei Arlovski decision, which, to be honest with you, Sal D'Amato and Douglas Crosby shouldn't be judging any MMA fights at this level until they've been re-educated on the rules and how to score an MMA fight. I still, for the life of me, do not understand how they came to a 29-28 for Arlovski. But obviously that affected the predictions overall from Base AI, because Base AI did have Jake Collier to win the fight, and it was actually the underdog of the week for MMAPlay365 from the Base AI UFC prediction software as well. So they had Collier winning at 57%, which odds implied minus 133. You could have had Collier anywhere from plus 125, maybe even plus 130, but in the region of around plus 125, plus 120. So there was plenty of value there pre-fight. Obviously, post-fight, you know, it was tough. It was a tough one to swallow because Jake Collier did everything he needed to do to win the fight. The AI was right. I bet Jake Collier as well. So I was right, and everybody that put money on Jake Collier, that was the right side to bet. Not only was he the plus money underdog, not only did the Base AI say he should have been a moderate favourite, but also he should have won the fight. So unfortunate, that's the fight game though, and that's how it rolls sometimes. But the AI, Jake Collier, the dog of the week from the Base AI, was absolutely spot on, in my opinion, from how the fight played out and not how the fight was decided. So we move on to the next one, and this one there's plenty to talk about here. Joanderson Brito versus Andrei Fili. So I bet Joanderson Brito as well at plus 240. And, you know, that couldn't have been any cleaner and stress-free, sweat-free. And the AI would probably think so itself if it had a mind of its own. But Brito to win, the AI actually said at 56%. So the AI favoured Brito to win. Bear in mind, Brito was a big underdog. Bear in mind, he'd just come off a loss in his last fight. And this is what really impresses me about the AI, because the fact that when you're surrounding everything regarding Brito, when you're not watching tape, because obviously the AI can't physically watch tape, when you're not watching tape, the fact that it still came out with Brito to be, or should be, the favourite in this fight is really crazy. And like I said, it impressed me a lot. And at 56%, odds implied is minus 127. And like I said, you could have had Brito at plus 250, plus 240, plus 200. So the AI was saying Brito should have been a very slight favourite, but you could have got him at, you know, good plus money odds. So the AI did spot on there, but we're going to break this down even further, because Brito KO at 23%, the AI said that prediction was. At 23%, that's odds implied at plus 335, so it is a big number, but again, Brito throws with power, and I'd imagine some people out there would have played the KO for sure. But on the bookies betting line, it was actually plus 1200. It was a 12-1 ticket. So the AI is saying it should have been plus 335. The bookies are saying it's plus 1200. Plenty of value there for the knockout, and that actually came true within like 41 seconds. Then the next one to look at, Brito in the distance. So we're adding the KO and submission here because Brito is a wrestler. He can get fights down to the mat, and his submission game's decent as well. So that was 42%. So the AI was saying Brito to win outright 56%, but 42% the AI is saying that the knockout and submission together, that Brito is more likely to win this fight via a finish than a decision. So at 42%, that's plus 138. So it's not a big plus money number, but on the bookies betting line, it was plus 700. So odds implied, the AI is saying that Brito to win inside the distance should have been plus 138, but you're getting plus 700 at the bookies. So again, crazy value. Then we're going to step this one breakdown further. Brito knockout round one, 18% the AI is saying. Odds implied plus 456. So again, a big betting line. But again, I'd imagine some people thought, you know what, Brito was more likely to knock Fili out than anything else. And if he is going to do it, his best chance is probably in round one. So at plus 456, it is a big number at 18% from the AI. But if you were to bet that on the bookies, plus 2,000. It's a 20-1 ticket that would have cashed when the AI is saying that Brito should have been plus 456 to win by a knockout in round 1. So again, there's so much to take from that Brito fight. The AI absolutely nailed it across every board, across the straight picks, across the method of victory, plus rounds as well. So it did a phenomenal job. Then the next one that I'm going to talk about, Grant Dawson versus Jared Gordon. Now, the first one is the AI had Grant Dawson to win at 55%, which is minus 122. Grant Dawson was obviously closed around minus 200, so there wasn't any value there according to the AI. However, where the value was is when you looked further into the Dawson versus Gordon fight. So, like I said, the AI was saying 55% at minus 122, no value, but let's skip further into it. Grant Dawson to win inside the distance, again, adding your knockout and submission percentages together, 46%, which is plus 117 odds implied. Now, you could have got Dawson to finish the fight at plus 250, so there was plenty of value inside the distance, definitely. That's where the AI was saying there was more value opposed to the straight money line of Grant Dawson. But then we're going to step it one step further as well. Grant Dawson to win via submission at 30%. So bear in mind, he was 55% to win outright, 30% to win via submission. It's a big percentage compared to the straight pick. Odds implied plus 233 at 30%. Now, you could have got Grant Dawson at plus 450 on the bookies. So again, there's value there. It's not the gem like what we've got in the Brito fight, but still at plus 233, the AI is saying that Grant Dawson's got a 30% chance of winning via submission, but at the bookies, you're not getting plus 233, you'd be getting plus 450. Value there for sure. Now, just on to the final fight of the recap, one that I want to talk about, and this is the one that I think I'm most surprised about of any of the results that I definitely didn't agree with. Shanna Young versus Gina Mazany. Shanna Young, they had favoured at 53%, so it is just a little over a coin flip. However, that odds implied is minus 113, and you could have got Shanna Young at plus 175, so there's a lot of value there. And to be honest with you, the majority of people, including myself as well, was picking Gina Mazany to win that fight, and quite confidently and comfortably as well. I didn't bet Gina Mazany, but I thought she was going to win the fight in a pretty straightforward manner, and obviously the AI had other ideas, and once again I'm wrong, and the AI has proved me wrong there. But I'm really impressed with that, because Shanna Young, although she started a little bit sketchy, she took over the fight, and the AI must have known that from how Gina Mazany's fights have played out and when they've ended and all the stuff that goes into the algorithm. So I'm impressed with it even bringing Shanna Young in at 53% to be slightly favoured to win the fight. But then another little aspect when we break it further down as well is Shanna Young to win inside the distance was 33%, which odds implied is plus 203, but you could have had it to win inside the distance at plus 500. So there was even value to win inside the distance. The AI has obviously seen Gina Mazany slow down the longer the rounds go on, and that's where those numbers have come from, being inside the distance for a women's fight in the division. So 33% to win inside the distance, plus 203 odds implied, plus 500 on the betting line. Plenty of value there as well. That's all from the Baze AI recap. I'm excited to see the results for UFC 274 for what it's predicting. Remember, we give a free prediction away every single week. People vote on Twitter for which fight that they want for that free prediction to come onto the MMAPlay365 website. And then what we do is we post those results on Instagram with a link to the website to see the full predictions for free. That's all on the MMAPlay365 website /Baze-AI. Make sure you check that out. We'll be back next week with the UFC 274 Baze AI recap. I'm Newsome. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next week.